think it works. Hi everyone, this is Catalin and this is a Sunday. It's about 5:15 p.m. right now, and since I do have a bit more time during the weekends now, I wanted to start to do a small series of videos in which I document what I'm doing. I share some of my thoughts, some of the stories that happened in the week and all these things, because I wanted to create content for a while, but I didn't really find a simple process that I could actually follow. So I'll definitely do that now and see how it goes, and if I have enough time, I'll keep doing them. So right now is the 29th, I believe, of March. It's obvious for, I think, basically everyone that the coronavirus situation is very real. I'm not gonna give any points on that because I'm not a medical doctor. I don't really pretend to understand all those things. But what I do think is very interesting is two things. One, it was very interesting for me to find out that I can actually work from home. And after I film this, I'll go to my standing desk I basically made up. But for me, so here's how I think about, as a lot of you are right now in the position in which you need to work from home, here's how I think about that. Number one, I normally try to keep work and relaxation and all the other things very separate. I'm usually very intense when it comes to my work. So if I work here, let's say, which is, that's my couch in my living room, then I'll basically have like a soup of feelings, because your brain associates places with certain emotions and certain activities. So if you're gonna work there, if you're gonna watch videos there, if you're gonna relax there, if you're gonna read there, if you're gonna do everything in one particular space, that doesn't seem like a good idea. And there's a lot of literature on this that proves it, that basically your mind and your brain and your neurons fire together. So if you do certain activities in certain places, those emotions will get connected to that. So for me, I really avoided working from home in the last couple of years. But now what I've done is the following. Number one, I dress appropriately. So right now I just finished, I was just working on some things. I got breakfast. Well, brunch, whatever you call it, because it was 4 p.m. when I got it. But I dress appropriately. So I dress exactly the way I would normally dress doing my normal work at the office. I have a lot of calls and a lot of things, with a lot of conversations with financial institutions, with a lot of professionals. So I really care about being serious about what I'm doing and looking the part. But it also helps me in a psychological way, because it gets me in the mood of being serious about my work. So that's number one. Number two, what I do, and I have some notes here, is, and I'll show you this, I basically found an opportunity for a standing desk in my kitchen. And that's where I work, to avoid this place, because I don't like this place. Now, some other things I do is I try to have a schedule. I didn't succeed this week in doing that. So what I want to do is I wake up at 9 a.m. I do my morning routine about an hour a day. Then I do my stretching, and then I eat, and I don't prepare anything. I get food sent over to me, and then I start working. I do my meditation at about 7 p.m. at night. And ideally I want to stop at 7:30, 8 and have an hour or two of just thinking, sitting alone, silence, or just learning, or just watching some videos and things of that nature. That's the schedule I aspire to. What I actually ended up doing was working till 11 p.m. every single night. So I don't really mind doing that, but what it seems to be the case is if I don't have some strong boundaries around working from home, I will just end up working at all time. And even though that's not a problem, because I actually enjoy working a lot, I want to have work and relaxation, sympathetic and parasympathetic systems. I want to have a good balance between on and off, so I can actually have a sustainable life. So that's kind of how I work from home. I do think it's a very bad idea to leave your schedule aside, to work in your pajamas, to work from the same place you do everything else. I do think you should find a way, maybe have a corner in your room and things of that nature. So that's on the work side. On the business side, here's what I've done. So the first week of the coronavirus thing happening, I was really focused on the news and I was reading all the stuff. But what I realized afterwards was, after getting a decent grasp of the events that are going on and the things that are happening, what I realized was that these types of times are when companies when innovation gets gets traction, because if you think of the environment, the economic environment, kind of like a diamond, let's say, as the economic pressure increases, companies will be looking for more and more performance and return on investment and more efficiency in their operations. And innovation, by definition, brings efficiency to a system. Now, normally, and this is very interesting because actually all of my current endeavors are on an innovative track. Normally what you have is, if you come up with an innovation, for example, the current marketing group that I'm putting together, we really believe we can make marketing just a lot more efficient, so at least a 1 degree of magnitude, so a 10x multiplier on efficiency. The problem with implementing things like that in a very peaceful and pleasant economic time is companies are not motivated to implement them, right? Because the cost of looking at a new option, of implementing a new option, it's higher than the pressure that they currently have on that particular metric. So if you're a big company, you have very little economic pressure normally. If you're a medium company, you have, let's say, medium pressure. If you're a small company, you have high pressure at all times. So by definition, smaller businesses have the most amount of economic pressure being put on them, roughly speaking. So that's why it's easier to implement innovation with small businesses and harder with big corporations, because they feel less pain. But now, because of the S&P 500, and basically if you're looking at a business, and for example, we're looking at businesses, the value of businesses has just dropped 30-40% in just a matter of weeks. So the same business that would be normally worth, let's say, 20 million, now it's worth 12 or 10. So that's a big difference. And if you have a current existing business, and I know there's a lot of businesses that are in travel, they are doing a lot of things that are directly impacted in a negative way by this current spread of the virus that's going on. And I think it's only, we haven't, I don't really think we have seen the peak of this yet. But I don't know, because there's very deep analytical, well, it's not incredibly complex mathematical modeling, but it's more than I normally can understand, so I don't want to make a noise. But it seems to me that we're not at the peak of any of anything yet. So the peak is yet to come. So we'll see about that. But now, if you have a company and if you're negatively impacted by this, or you're in the market with a particular business, this seems to be the time in which, if you have a product that's better, that's a lot better than everything else, or if you can come up with a variant of your existing business that's a lot better, you're gonna get traction now, because people are hungry for effectiveness, right? They're gonna buy it, they're gonna get it. When normally, in a pleasant economic time in which companies are just doing their thing, even if you have a better product, even if you have a better mousetrap, companies will not buy it as much, right? So I think that equation, it's really impressive. And you can look at ARK Invest. They have a lot of research on innovation and all these sorts of things. And I think it's very valuable for companies to think about. So for me, since about a week ago, I stopped consuming the news, at least almost 100%, not 100% though. And I'm really focused on clarifying my USP in all the projects that I'm currently involved, as a lot of people know or may not know, but I'm involved in a marketing agency. I'm also involved in a marketing group, and I'm involved in one of the biggest ballroom dancing communities that I founded a couple of years ago, and that's actually doing very well right now because of the current people, that dancers and teachers that are sitting at home. But that's another conversation. So for me, what I'm doing right now is, instead of trying and freaking out, because everybody is losing money in the short term, what I'm thinking is, how can our value propositions be improved? And how can those value propositions be accelerated by this current times? And I think there's a lot of benefit for that. So I think during this type of time when everybody is freaking out, quote unquote, for good reason, if you can, and if you want, and if you have something worthwhile that you're doing, I think it's so important to have laser focus on what it is that you can do, what innovation you can bring in your current business or a new business and product. Because if you can get those to be successful and good enough, you'll get incredible traction. As a lot of statistics say and a lot of research, I mean, most of the innovative companies that we currently have been born out of the 2007 and 8 and 9 crisis, more like 2007 and 8. So I think it's a very interesting time, and it's worth to take a step back from the news and kind of look at the situation and see how can you take your innovation to market. How can you do that? How can you do it faster and focus on that thing specifically? So that's kind of what's on my mind. So hope everybody's doing well and hope everybody's safe, or as safe as they can be. Oh, I have this thing I'm going to tell you about. I am going to, most likely in a week or two, launch a special podcast in which we're going to bring in businesses and talk about their specific problems and challenges and bring in experts around those businesses, so we can actually help them grow and innovate out of this current situation, and then generally speaking. Yeah, interesting times. Thank you for watching. Hope you're doing fine, and see you in a bit. Oh, I forgot. Let me show you my current office, which is the least fanciest thing you'll ever see. So this is where I work. I basically found I have this standing desk. It's not ideal because it's lower. Like, this is normally where my head is, and this is where the standing desk is. But it's the best place I found in my home to do the work that I want to do. So that's where I'm working currently, and it is very effective for me because, like I said, if I connect the same location with multiple things, I normally don't like it. It's a bad thing because my brain becomes a soup of emotion. So that's it. Talk to you soon.